It's time to witness your fitness. Welcome back. Week 3 of the Open. 24.3 is here, and it is a trap. Do not fall into it. We have 5 rounds, 10 thrusters, 95-65, deceivingly easy, 10 chest to bar pull-ups. Then we got 1 minute rest, and then we got 5 more rounds, 135, 95-pound thrusters, 7 reps this time, combined with 7 bar muscle ups. It is very easy to go way too hot on this workout. Don't worry, that won't be you, maybe. Let's go ahead and break this down. Like I said at the beginning, it is a trap, and it's very easy to fall into the trap of going off way too hot on that first round and then burning out before you get to the finish. And if you look at the announcement show, this is kind of what happened with Jay Crouch and Ariel Lowen. They essentially crushed the first piece, realized maybe somewhere on the round 3 or 4 on that first piece that they've done a horrible mistake and gone off way too fast. They tried to recover in that 1 minute, but we saw that these athletes who are really good at these movements still had to have long transition times and had to rest within their muscle up sets, something that we wouldn't expect to see if they would have approached it with maybe a little bit more moderate approach. So the first lesson that we have is that you must pace yourself. Now, if we break this down a little bit further and you look at Roman, for example, now he didn't beat Jay, but actually to his capacity, his body weight, etc., it looked like he had the best pacing in this workout. He looked relaxed through the first part, didn't push too hard apart from that first round that was pretty hot. And then on the second part, he was the only athlete who was able to do those muscle ups unbroken. Yes, he had a little bit longer transition times to both movements on the rounds 2, 3, and 4 of that final piece. But I think overall, he actually performed really well to his capacity on this one. And then if you look at Ariel and Sydney and you compared them on that second piece, you could look at the data and say, well, Sydney always transitioned faster to the thrusters than Ariel, so she must have more capacity on the thrusters. That might or might not be the case, but why she could transition faster was because she had to break down the muscle ups so much after that second round. So she would have probably been better off breaking the muscle ups a little bit earlier, not going as close to failure, and then having to rest so much. So there's a lesson there. You might need to break the movements up more than you are used to, especially if you started out too hot at the beginning. So the 2 really important questions that you have to ask yourself are how to pace this right, and 2, what to do with those transitions and rest period so that you can perform at your best when you actually get to the movement. If you're going to transition for 20 seconds, that's 20 seconds that you can spend on doing something valuable versus just kind of trying to recover without having a specific plan. So we're going to definitely look at that when we talk about the execution. Let's talk about preparation for this workout. First thing, fueling. Ideally done in the last few days before today. So it's a good idea to come with fully replenished glycogen stores, meaning that you ate enough carbs in the preceding days. When you come to a high intensity piece like this, it's going to give you that energy that you need to go hard. Now, if you missed out on that, you can just eat well today, do this tomorrow, or you can just have a good solid breakfast and you're going to be just fine when you come to the gym. Some equipment considerations. Now, first of all, you definitely want to have some gymnastics grips, maybe 2 pairs in case one of them breaks. The other thing, if the thrusters are heavy for you, a belt might be a good idea, a Velcro belt for those 135, 95-pound thrusters. You also might want to consider weightlifting shoes. Yes, they will keep you more upright, they'll give you a better balance on the thrusters, but they are a little bit heavier, so you might be concerned with your gymnastics. If that's you, you can also have those wedges that go inside your shoe, elevate your heel a little bit. That's an option. And then finally, if your wrists are a problem on those thrusters, you might have some wrist straps that you can take with you, and they might be helpful for you. Just don't put them too tight so you cut off blood flow to your hands. Not a good idea. So you got your equipment, you have done your fueling, now you come to the gym. What will you do? You have the 4 stages. So we have blood flow, we have established range of motion, movement prep, and then cardio, very important on this one. So blood flow, come at the gym, sit on a bike, ideally air bike, so you get blood flow upper and lower body. 5 minutes, just easy while you chat with your friends. Maybe it's a bike erg if you have to. Then you can do some specific upper body work with a crossover symmetry or some banded stuff to get some blood flow in there. And our 27 squats you can find on our website, also a very useful tool to get that lower body opened up. Now, range of motion wise, what are the positions that you have to think about? The front rack position, of course, overhead, the bottom of the squat. Those would be the key positions. Now on top of that, on a piece like this, where you're going to be breathing really heavy, it's a good idea to do some position-specific breathing. So you can do this drill, which is called expansive breathing. You can either use something around your rib cage or just your own hands, if you're just standing there, or if you do this with equipment, then putting one of those glute bands around your rib cage, lower rib cage, can be very helpful, or you can do this also without that. So what are the positions you want to think about? Bottom of the squat, take 5 to 10 big expansive breaths, meaning you have this 3D expansion front, side, and back of your rib cage, each breath a little bit bigger than the previous one. You're warming up the respiratory muscles and you're establishing good thoracic range of motion. You can do this also, so bottom of the squat, front rack, overhead, and then also hanging from the barbell. It's a good idea to spend some time at the end of your range of motion piece to do that as you transition to doing the full movements. Now, when you prepping the movements for the thruster, we have some things for you to focus on: the breathing at the right time and also the right sequence. We'll talk about that in the execution. For the chest to bar and bar muscle up, you can go and check out our tips for the movements. As your preparation, there's some drills and cues that you can use for yourself. And then finally, once you've done all of this blood flow, range of motion and movements, now we have to think about cardio. And we have this warm-up that we used for years that's going to be very helpful for you. I would choose a bike erg and a ski erg when you do this. We do 3 minutes bike, 3 minutes ski, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 1 minute. So you get 12 minutes of cardio warm-up. We start easy, then we go moderate, so easy on the 3, moderate on the 2, and then pretty hard on the 1. The idea is that you're hot and sweaty at the end of this, you're breathing heavy, you touched high intensity, but you're not fatigued. At that point, if you didn't get enough of the movements in the movement prep, you can do some mini rounds of the workout before you get started. Give yourself 3 to 5 minute rest, and you'll be ready to hit it hard. So the key to your success in this workout is to pace it well. You want to be steady and relaxed at the start. There is no rush anywhere. When you look at this workout, the first 5 rounds, if you think you can finish or get pretty far in the second piece, the first 5 rounds don't matter. They're just a means to an end, which is to get to the second piece. In fact, you could think about this workout just starting when that 1 minute rest period starts. And if you've done Friend before, you know that you don't feel better after 1 minute of rest. But there are things that you can do very deliberately during that 1 minute rest that will help you, and we'll talk about this. One more thing before I go into specifics of transitions and the rest, which I think are a very important piece of this. I want you to think about breaking all the movements according to your capacity, and that might be more than you would like. Again, it's not the capacity you would like to have, it's the capacity that you actually do have today. So the first thrusters, good idea to go unbroken. If you can, you're going to save a lot of time. You can break them into later rounds if you need to, but ideally rest enough before the thrusters so you can do them unbroken each time. The chest to bar, ideally unbroken of course, but it might be 2 sets, might even be 3 sets. You might even be doing singles, and you want to account for that. The key thing here is not to go too close to failure early on in those gymnastic movements especially, because it's going to take you so long to recover. The same thing with the bar muscle up. You want to approach it maybe in sets. 4+3 works really well. You don't need to go unbroken, even if you normally do sets of 7 unbroken, because you'll be way more gassed at that point in the workout than you think you will be. Now, let's talk about something really important, the transitions. So these will take anything from 5 seconds to 20 to even 30 seconds at some point in this workout. That's a lot of time to be doing something useful, not just surviving the workout. So what are the best things you can do? Number 1, big exhales. Deliberate big exhales will help you blow out that CO2 in your lungs. It's going to help you bring your heart rate down. It's going to help you calm down. It's a really good strategy. Shake your arms and try to relax in the transitions. Do not rush, okay? You can make up a lot of time by being efficient in your transitions. Even if they take a little bit long, you're doing something actively to recover. Second important piece is that rest minute. Okay, you have that 1 minute and you can do a lot with it. Here's the sequence. You finish, don't just lie on the ground. If you lie on the ground after the first piece, you paced it completely wrong. This should not be the case. So you should be able to walk away from that first part. Big exhales. Again, first 10 seconds or so, you're just blowing out that CO2 and bring your heart rate down, calming down. Once you catch your breath, maybe 20, 30 seconds in, you're going to flush your mouth with a little bit of carbs, a little bit of sugar. You don't need to swallow it. You can spit it out somewhere appropriate. Maybe you have a bucket. Who knows? Your friend's face. That's going to help your brain feel like you have more energy than you actually do. Okay? That leaves you maybe 10, 15 seconds to calm yourself and refocus on the task at hand, which is going to be the second part of the workout. Remember, you are not just passively resting in transitions and rest. You're doing active things to help you perform better in this workout. Let's take a couple quick tips on the thruster. The first one is you want to squat clean the first rep if you can. It's going to save you from doing a power clean front squat. Of course, if you have to go down that route, go down that route, but ideally you're going to squat clean straight in the first rep. Now that might mean that the first rep is a little bit more on your fingertips, but as you pop it up with your hips, it does not matter so much where your grip is. So the tip number 2 is use your hips to drive the bar up. Do not press early. And a good drill to practice in your warm-up is to do a front squat pop into a thruster. So we're going to do 3 reps front squat pop and then a thruster. And a thruster. Good, and bring it down. Good. Okay, so the idea is that you finish that front squat, finish the hips, the bar is already weightless, and then, and only then, you're going to finish up with the arms. Now the next thing is to think about the way down, and as you bring the bar down, you do not want to start to squat too early, but also not too late. You want to be just in between. So as you get close to your shoulders, with the bar coming down, staying close to your face, not away from your body, you're going to wait, and then you're just going to squat down. So you write the bar down smoothly. Again, we are not looking to pull the bar down in this workout. You will not be moving that fast. Okay, we saw in the announcement show that it was not a good plan. If it's a good plan for you, congratulations, you are amazing. But for most people, that's not a good idea. Focus on good drive on the way up, being smooth on the way down. Now, let's think about the breathing on the thruster. So you might have already heard Eckert do this, but can you use that of 3, just emphasize the exhale at the top. So a good place to breathe is at the top of a thruster. Here. Maybe you time it a little bit more naturally. Okay. So what you would do in a workout, so this was a little bit overemphasized, you would be down. Okay, you would not wait and then exhale. You would hit the top position as you're about to hit it. You exhale and go straight down. Okay, not as big a pause as we just saw there. And then finally, what you want to do is you want to keep the bar close. I already mentioned that, but it's very important that you can keep your balance on the whole of the foot. You do not want to be on your toes. What we'll see, especially with athletes with stiff ankles, is that they start to drive the knees forward too much, maybe cut down the range of motion, get a no rep, but also just being inefficient and starting to go forward, especially when you're fatigued and especially when that barbell weight is heavier on that second part. So make sure you stay not just on the heels, but you stay balanced on the whole foot, going straight down, straight up, efficiently. Good luck on the thrusters. Now for the chest to bar and the bar muscle up, we have separate videos with some cues that you can use for each one of the movements. The one thing I will say that we'll see oftentimes on the chest to bar is that people go too narrow on their grip, and that makes the range of motion much longer. So if you're narrow and you're trying to get all the way to your chest, this is much harder than going wide. A good cage is, we'll see people going like this. The good idea is to have your wrist aligned with your elbow on that chest to bar, especially if you're doing the bar muscle, butterfly style chest to bars. It's going to be really beneficial for you to have a good smooth flow and not to make the range of motion more excessive than it needs to be. For more tips, go check out those videos. What do you do when you finished with this workout? You're going to give yourself a little high five. You're done with the open. The problem, however, is that if you really want to do well in the open, or you are in that bubble of making the quarterfinals, or you just really enjoy suffering, this workout is actually quite repeatable. Yes, your legs and your upper body will be tired, but if you do this on Friday, for example, and then do it again on Monday, you will have time to recover, and you will almost certainly be able to go faster on the second go. I'm sorry to say that, for those of you who really want to go after it. What that means, if you want to do that, it means that it's probably, if you already know you're going to do this twice, it's probably a good idea to do the first go a little bit more relaxed than you think, and that's going to give you some room to see where you could go faster. Is it in the first piece? Is it in the second piece? Or is it somewhere else? In the middle? I don't know. You will figure it out. But if you go too hard, you're just going to hit a wall and you're not going to learn that much. Okay, so if you think you're going to repeat, start a little bit too slow rather than going too fast. Ultimately, in the end, this is the kind of workout that where you finish, you cannot walk away. You're going to be done. You're probably going to be lying on the floor for an extended period of time, and you will suffer. Remember this, do not ride to the gates of Valhalla too soon. Pace yourself, my friend. That is going to be, your friend. Good luck.